Computers are useful for their purpose, but they are no substitute for brains.
All right, here we go.
I have to say, well done, Ray. Well done. Well played, my adversary. Well played.
Phoenix isn't gay, but if he was, he'd pick Fremo.
Oh, yeah, he'd be living down there with you in the bunker, man. Woo!
Once you go free, you always do the Z.
Like one day I'm not going to Duncan and you could get a controller, a new Xbox, possibly even a cord.
And now, the two guys that took 2 years to fix their audio problems.
Welcome to BGFG episode 377. I'm your host, Chris Phoenix, and join me, as always, my brother from another mother, Mr. Fremozy. How are you doing?
Well, I'm just checking the time, and yeah, we launched this thing at 12. It's now 12:15, so we're right on schedule.
And here's the best part. We were supposed to start at 11. And you think
that's our start time. This week it was going to be 11:30 because I got hung up at the tag office for doing my tag. I knew that wasn't going to go smooth.
No, never.
But
does.
yeah, and then I tried to kill myself for the next half hour.
Which is, I shouldn't say funny. It's not funny.
Oh, it's funny. I was literally sitting there at one point thinking to myself, I wish I had a way to record this because at least then he'd have some footage for the show.
I have done shit.
If I die, these are my final moments, and I want it on air.
I literally have said in the past, over 20 years, I've said at least a handful of times, at the least, man, I wish Free was here to see this. Just something tragic or something strange. I'm like, man, I wish Free was here. Yeah. He'd appreciate the shit. And I'd look around, it was mostly at work. I'd look around and be like, none of these motherfuckers are going to appreciate this. If Fremo's here, he'd appreciate the shit out of this.
Oh, yeah.
Look, the day we got in a beige box computer. Hey, can you upgrade this to 11? No, man. No. You have an original Pentium processor running at 1 gigahertz.
There is nothing about this entire setup that can be used in a Windows 11 computer, including the shell.
Yeah. Even if you want to modify it, it's probably not.
Yeah, unless you want to Gorilla Glue the motherboard to the case, because the screw holes ain't gonna line up.
Well, you'd be happy to know that the other day we got in a computer that somebody dremeled out the bottom of the motherboard to access a vertical card, which the case wasn't allowed, didn't have a vertical GPU set spot. So they made one and dremeled out the bottom of the motherboard. I wonder why it wouldn't boot or run properly, I should say. It did run, which is incredible.
That's I had a guy one time. It's been a while. I guess it was original DDR memory.
Oh.
And it wouldn't quite fit the slot.
Oh, what'd he do?
It was like 2 pins, like the notch was like 2 pins off of where he needed it.
Yeah.
So he just expanded the notch.
Oh.
And he's like, well,
why do people do this?
It didn't really get into any of the little gold spots on there. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of not the point. The point is it's not designed for this motherboard.
It's kind of not the point.
Was where, that's like your first clue that this don't fit.
Yeah. When it comes to computers, don't make something fit. That's not the way it works.
I wanted to ask him, so you're that kid that like got a hammer stuck in his ear when he was little, right?
Oh, yeah. Hammer stuck in his ear. Kind of fucking stupid. Like,
well, the hole's round, the hammer's round, it should fit.
I just passed by my mind's eye. So we have a big show this week. A decent amount of news, but the gaming section is kind of big. There was a couple of things that went on this week. Couple three.
Man, trying.
Man,
'Cause you
shut
got
up.
one in the news section,
That you don't care
which
about.
really should be under for what it's worth. So if you get to it, get to it. But whatever.
Dick.
Let's pluck this chicken.
All right.
BGFG News. You heard it here third.
So hopefully this time I'm going to be able to keep up with all the pictures that we have on the video, because I'm notorious for not clicking the button quickly enough. So first up in this week's news, we actually have some good news. We want to start off for a change, because I actually had somebody that listens to the show tell me, they're like, dude, you're always talking about like things getting compromised and stuff. I'm like, always worried. I'm like, okay, that's a valid point. We do talk about that a lot for good reason, but because we don't want everybody to be stupid.
Yeah.
But
I mean, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not after you.
right, exactly right. As Primo whips his head around. So St. Elizabeth Hospital in Kentucky, and they're a Dana-Farber Institute as well. They have a new test called Galari. And this test can test for 50 types of cancer, which is freaking phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's really hard to find like pancreatic or ovarian cancer off the cuff until really sometimes when it's possibly too late. And 70% of cancer deaths are from cancers they don't even have an effective screening for. I didn't even know that. Like, my wife has survived cancer twice. And that's remarkable. And my mom and her mom currently and her father have all passed away from cancer. And it's amazing to me that I didn't know that, but it's true. Right now, you can test for breast, cervical, colon, lung, prostate, which are no fun. And they're all done one at a time. You can't test for them all. It's not like you can go, hey, test me for the group. You can't. It's one at a time, and they all suck completely. Well, there's a new blood or DNA, if you want, test that can test for 50 of them free. 50 different cancers.
That's huge. One stick, you can find out how many ways you're done.
I mean, there's times where people don't even know, like, I'm not feeling good. There's people that have a strong immune system or a strong tolerance for pain, and they don't even know. And some of these 50 cancers might actually kill them. And because there's really no autopsy done, just, he died of natural causes.
Right.
And nobody looks into it. And the doctors say that but the doctors do say that this test, it's a supplemental test, but not to replace the other tests. So I can assume that out of these 50, when you take this test, if you trip for like breast, colon, prostate, they'll go and have you take a further test. And the thing that, as usual, as much as we like to say the good, we got to give you the reality of it. The reality of it is, it's not covered by fucking insurance, of course. And there goes the explicit tag already. But seriously, it's not covered by fucking insurance. Seriously, people, come on, man. This test is going to cost me $950 out of pocket because you don't want to pay for the testing. That's some bullshit. Our health plan in this country sucks ass.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's no debating it. We have some of the most innovative medical technologies in the world. In fact, most of the medical technologies of the world have come from this country, but our actual health insurance is garbage because it's run by a corrupt big pharma system. Period.
Yeah, and
doctors don't become doctors to uphold the Hippocratic Oath anymore. They become doctors so that they can have the lifestyle that they want.
You're right. It's awful.
Shame.
And I get that that's a generalization,
Shame.
and I get that some of y'all know doctors that are really awesome. Like my wife's primary care dude's amazing.
Yeah.
If I could clone him and let everybody use this guy, I would. He cares. He has no bedside manner. He's not going to come in and ask you how your day is. He's literally there to make sure you're healthy and no bones about it. And if he doesn't like what you're doing, he tells you.
That's awesome.
And if you don't adhere to the things that he tells you need to be doing, then he doesn't see you anymore.
Well,
yeah, like we're going to get your blood pressure down. You got to do this, this, and this. And if you don't do it, then he has nothing else for you. He's like, you didn't follow my treatment. You didn't do what you need to do. I can't help you.
You got to respect the doctor like that. You have
Oh,
to.
yeah, that's what I said. If I could clone him and send him out there in the
Yeah.
world, I would, because it would help get so many more people healthy.
Now, granted, I
Not
wouldn't.
not just not just masking with symptomatic treatment.
I can say with all due honesty that I would be under his care for about 4 months. Because eventually he sees something that I'm just like, nah, I can't not eat burritos. Sorry, not gonna happen. So
He could
back to
tell you not
the,
to eat burritos. He just tell you not to eat 12 in a sitting.
but that's a party pack plus the sampler.
All right.
I'm just saying, I'm looking economically, man. So again, it's not covered by insurance. It's going to cost you $950 out of pocket. That kind of sucks, but that should eventually make finding cancer a lot easier, which is great.
Well, and
man.
it'll get, eventually this will become something insurance covers eventually. But yeah,
I think
I
so.
don't know how
I
long
just
that'll take.
Yeah, exactly right. I wish it would happen sooner rather than later.
It needs to.
It does. It does. And this is a good thing.
I mean, it's not like it hasn't been clinically tested. I mean, it's
Yeah.
done what it needs to do to show that this is an effective test. This is not in a testing phase. This is a completed procedure.
Yeah.
So it should be pushed to the top of the line for approval. Period.
Agreed. I was just, as a side note, I was just reading also that I didn't realize, and I have it saved, so we'll probably cover it in one of the upcoming episodes, but I had no idea how much the organ donor system is broken. It is messed up because it was like a side, it was like a link to the story that I was reading for this segment. And oh my gosh, Free, I can't wait to cover that because kidney transplants are the most popular, and it's such an absolute disaster. It's so loose security wise.
Okay. Give me a heads up on that, because I have a guy that used to travel around with the team that would harvest organs.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I'll let you know. 100%.
Yeah, like he's in the inside know of what these guys come in, what they do, how they do it, and what happens.
Man. So again, on a good note, robocalls might be a thing of the past, which is nice because I got 2 of them this morning. It's funny because the wife and I were sitting side by side, or as us in the Northeast say, side by each. We were sitting there, and my phone rang, scam. Her phone rang right afterwards, scam. So it's obviously polling from the same pool that they have both of our numbers, especially together on some account. But it's nice to see that the attorney generals for all 50 states actually got together. It was spearheaded by North Carolina, Indiana, Ohio, and for those 3, for leading the attorney generals themselves, getting all 50 states. The group's now going to take legal action against any telecom that willingly lets robocalls through. Now, one of the things I thought was interesting is not just the big 3 telecoms, or 4, depending on how you look at it. It's also the gateway providers, which I didn't even realize. So the gateway providers are the providers that allow access to international calling. So when you're calling, on your phone overseas, it's an international exchange. And apparently that's where the breakdown is that they're not regulated really by anybody or anything. And I can provide some sort of truth to that because when I was in the cable industry and we were running telephone, I can't tell you how many times I'd be in a basement of somebody's home from another country that would have a PBX board down there, and they'd be punching out and selling long distance services to their home country. Yeah. And not that that's the same thing. These are a lot bigger, but it's the same principle. Like these gateways are providing the gateways, and they handle all the routing of the international calls. And many of these companies count that as a steady stream of income. Is selling that information. I think that's crazy.
Well, I don't know about you, but I found a way to deal with robocalls a while back.
What do you do?
Turn your phone off.
Okay, that'll work.
Guarantee you will get no robocalls.
Yeah, that's why I can't usually get a handle on you. So thanks for that. All right, let's look at the elephant in the room that Fremo's looking forward to, and I'll try to make it as quick and painless as possible. Not just because
Wait, hold
you
on.
hate Apple.
Can I make it quick and painless?
Sure.
Okay. What he's referencing here, this is a first, folks. I'm actually going to introduce and talk about Apple. They did their huge new. Took them like an hour to get through just what the new products were.
It took him like an hour.
No, it did.
I know.
It's in the article. It took them literally took them an hour just to list all the upcoming products and updates and blah blah blah. And we don't really have that kind of time, so we're going to give you the link in the show notes so that you can check out whatever you want to about your upcoming Apple iPhone 14 Pro, SE, Ultra Watch, blah 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 blah. Your AirPods Pro 2.
All right. Okay, so it was called the Far Out
and
event.
other announcements like they're discontinuing the Apple Watch editions. Which ones are they discontinuing? So you can find out whether you need to run out and buy one of these new Apple Ultra watches. Maybe we should do the organ story in conjunction with this so people know where to go sell their kidneys.
That's true. I'm not gonna lie. That is true. It was called the Far Out event, and Fremo's not far from the truth. This was, as an Apple person myself, I'm going to tell you, it was a shitty fucking event. Just from front to back. So, like, they announced the Watch Series 8, and it does a temperature
This is like
sensor.
Bizarro World. I'm like actually trying to do a good job of talking about Apple, and you're talking about it. It sucks.
Yeah. I'm telling you, it's weird. It's what the hell happened. So the Watch Series 8's got a temperature sensor, and it works best for ovulations for women, which is great. And it's got car crash detection, which is nothing really fucking different from the fall detection I had before. And it comes in fancy new colors. Like,
I'm sorry, folks. If you need your watch to tell you were in a car crash, you shouldn't have been in the car. Period.
You say that. But I can tell you that it's I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the crash detection. I agree with you.
Car going over an embankment and like rolling, and it's upside down, and OnStar's calling, asking if you're okay, and the wife's like, "Honey, what happened?" The guy's like, "I have no idea. Hold on a second." Yeah, we were in a car crash, according to the Apple Watch. Really?
I know. I don't disagree with you in any way.
That explains it.
Now, what was the good thing of the whole event was the Apple Watch Ultra. It's got an action button on the side, which I know you're going to love. It's got an action button that will activate pretty much any activity that you're in the middle of doing. It's a 49 millimeter size, so it's a big watch for hands like mine that make my watch look small. It'll actually be bigger. It's got night mode. It's got a more durable casing because the lens now sits inside the watch. Like, why did you guys not think of this before? You have the lens or the glass wrapped around the side of the watch, and that's what I get mostly is watches that are popped off. The screens are broken and popped off. Now the lens sits inside the casing. That's the way you should have designed it in the first friggin' place. It's got a bigger crown. It's got 2 speakers on it. It's got a new feature for divers, which is awesome. So if you use it as a diving watch, that is pretty cool. It's got a live depth reading. It's pretty badass. But it's also $800. Like, it's a fucking watch. Like, if you're going to use the diving shit and you're, you cross train and you do marathons and triathlons, this is the watch for you.
It's $100 extra for that functionality.
It's about $700 too expensive for that functionality. It really is.
Because the watches are $800 a pop. So you're telling me if you want the diving Ultra thing, it's now $900?
No. The Ultra is $800. All the other ones are probably lower, like $500, $300. This one is like expensive. And I don't know. I want one. I do want one because it's just bigger. I like the larger size, but Outside of that, I can't see spending
You know how
$800.
painful it is to spend 20 years with someone trying to educate sheeple, and they're the biggest sheeple you know when it comes to Apple.
I'm not
It
gonna
almost
lie.
hurts my soul, Phoenix.
Oh, that's good shit. But that's not the only thing they announced though. Free, like they announced AirPods Pro. Again, they touted it as better everything. Great, it is.
Well, of
It's
course they
slightly
did.
better. It's slightly better noise canceling, slightly better transparency, slightly better force sensor. Who cares? Like now on the stem of the AirPod, you can swipe up and down on the stem to turn up the volume. Who like? I don't understand why they just. It's got 6 hours of listening time. You can use Find My for the individual AirPods and stuff. Great. So when I'm standing in the middle of my living room, I can't fucking find the AirPod in the middle of my bedroom, say. I can't find it. And if I hit the button, what's it going to do? It's not going to do anything. There's no speaker on it. It's not going to play a sound. I still have no idea where it is. Oh, I'm in the right room? Great. Like, I don't see the point in that. Well, the one thing they did do is they put a lanyard hole in it, which is nice.
I envision that when dude's got the AirPod like in his cargo pocket on his thigh.
Yeah.
He's looking for it. He's like, let me see if it's in this room. Can't find it. Crap. And then he's in the next room. It's in this room. What?
That would be funny. That would be pretty freaking funny. Yeah, it's gonna. Finally, they put a lanyard hole in it because you can't. There's no place to really put the case for it. Just like with any other wireless earpods or ear speakers, is you don't know where to put the case.
I think earbuds is the generic non-Apple term.
I agree. I'm sorry, I forgot that. I'm so succumbed and interest. Well, anyway, so the other big news was the iPhone 14. And guess what, people? As an Apple fanboy, I'm going to sit here and tell you, don't do it. It's a waste of money. It really is. The only thing that makes me even want to upgrade, which I don't need one and I'm not going to, but the only thing is that it goes to a 6.7 inch display, which every other company has done except for Apple pretty much lately. And now they have that, which is wonderful. And they dropped the SIM card tray. So now it's an eSIM only. Okay. You still get that lightning cable at the bottom, though. What the hell? Everybody else is doing USB-C. Why are you just still sticking with that?
We're going to have to do... actually, that one did surprise me if they didn't go ahead and migrate to USB-C because they're going to have to sell the iPhones in the European Union going forward.
Yeah.
So I don't know why. I mean, that mandate's already come down, so I don't know why they didn't go ahead and just start that now.
Mobile Congress already said that they have to go to USB-C. So they already did say that the iPhone 15 will have USB-C, but it's like that tells you light years, especially with Apple, when they release a phone and immediately start talking about the next phone and how it's going to have USB-C and it's going to do this. That's a problem, okay? This phone has the exact same chip in it as the iPhone 13 Pro. It's still a 12-megapixel camera. You didn't do anything new. Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
This was literally, the 14 is literally putting lipstick on a pig. There's
nothing different.
It's a money grab. That's all it is. It's a money grab.
The selfie camera can now autofocus. That's wonderful. That's great. That makes me want to go spend, $1,500 on the phone. Right. Which I'll get into in a minute.
How long has that been around? Samsung?
Yeah, buddy. Yeah. So there is an action mode in the video recorder that makes it act like a gimbal, which I think is kind of cool because that is like when you're running behind somebody and you're shooting video, it bounces. This will make it stop bouncing. I think that's a good idea. But the other cool thing I thought they did was they're working with Elon Musk's satellite service. We talked about it a couple of weeks back, and they are doing SOS through satellite. So if you're stuck and you're someplace else, you can still use that feature. Just remember what Fremont and I told you, though. It's a 3-hour ping time, really, to use the satellite. So yeah, you're gonna send somebody a text, but if you're freezing, try to bundle up best you can because it's going to be 3 hours before somebody can see that. So the iPhone 14 is going to be $800, and the 14 Plus is going to be $900. Now, that's not too bad in phones terms now, but you still have the iPhone. That's just the 14 and the 14 Plus. The 14 Pro and the Pro Max have all sorts of these other shit like Dynamic Island. Like, firstly, who named that? And all they're doing is taking the notch and spreading out the notch and putting an alert and a notification in there to try to make you forget that there's a big black line across the top of your damn phone, or a big cutout, I should say. And that's great. And it's also 200 nits in brightness. That's brighter than a 65-inch LG TV. Like, why do you need that kind of brightness? That's not needed. It's got an always-on display. That's cool, though I don't feel that's needed. And there's a larger camera with a 48 megapixel. Well, guess what? If I'm going into the 50 megapixel range of my camera, why don't you just make a DSLR camera? Like, you're getting to that point now, and you're adding the price and the cost to these phones that people can't afford. Now, I get it. There's people out there that want to use those for creating content and things. But again, I think there might be a better way. Do you really need a 48 megapixel camera? I don't get it. There's a bunch of other stuff they put in the camera, but again, I don't care. And then the
Yeah.
last thing they kind of announced was the iOS 16, and that reflects more on me and Fremo and what we do day to day than the actual hardware itself, is the operating system. I did download it. I have to say it's pretty cool. The front face is pretty cool, but again, all this stuff has been done by Samsung. You're not recreating a wheel here, Apple. I'm sorry to say, as much as I love you, you're not. And you can add widgets to the lock screen now, and that's great. And it is smooth. I would not recommend loading it up on on an iPhone 10 anytime soon, though, because there's already rumors of things bricking and Wi-Fi isn't working and things like that. But
again, this round, for most of everything that they brought to the table, it's just a money grab.
I agree,
They've gotten
100%.
they've gotten people used to, and they did back in the day when they released a new model of whatever. It was innovative. It was the next step, in that product line. Everything there's a couple new things, but for the most part, everything that they talked about in this is just, hey, we got y'all used to buying a new phone every year. Here's what we're offering.
Yeah, and it's not even big of a jump. Like in past years, it was a big jump. You went from an 8 megapixel camera to a 12. You went from one chipset, like a Qualcomm chipset, to a Apple prepared A14 chipset or something like that. There's a lot of these little features, but now that they've kind of done all the features you can, it's like they talk about the Pro Max. Oh, it's got 30-hour battery life. Well, it fucking should. It's a 6.7-inch screen, which means the battery inside that phone is massive. It better last longer. And I applaud them for having the ability in all of their devices to control battery life. My battery life of my AirPods and my battery life of my phone are top notch out of every other phone I've ever owned in my life. It lasts. I mean, it lasts.
Until the planned obsolescence update that decides okay, it's time to get rid of these phones.
Well, and Fremo's right. Fremo's right.
The batteries.
Yeah, it's never been proven yet. It's kind of been talked about where it's look, I work in the industry, and it's a really weird coincidence that it constantly happens.
And nothing, you don't have any issues with the phone whatsoever, ever. Great strong battery all the time. You do it the way you're supposed to. You let it get down to 10%, 5%, you plug it up to 100, you unplug it, you run it again, and your battery works great. And then you get an update, and then all of a sudden your battery lasts like 75% as long as it used to, and then 50%. And then 40%, and then you're having to keep it charged in the car while you're driving, and while you're at your desk, you have to plug it up during the day. And
I'm seeing that with iPhone 7s and iPhone 8s right now. And Apple's pulled all the batteries for those, so I can't even do the repairs on them. They pulled all the parts for them, actually. And because they are going into obsolete territory, which I understand, that's the way Apple works. I like the way they do that. I like the way they because how many people do we know free personally that would take an iPhone 7 or an iPhone 8 and go, dude, I want to get that new operating system on it, when you know damn well you shouldn't put it on there.
Yeah, I mean, do I know some people like that? Yeah, but that's just because that's what they do. They are always trying to Frankenstein stuff.
Right.
Period. When it comes to technology.
Let me take that 9-year-old computer. Let me throw Windows 11 on it. The box says
Yeah,
it'll work. Yeah, of course the box says it will going to work. You're not going to have good experience though. It's the
yeah.
same thing, and I applaud Apple for taking the stand that they do, where after a certain amount of time, things just don't work anymore. I get that, but when it comes to this phone stuff that everybody's using all the time, it's pretty rough to do. And Samsung and Garmin, of all people, had a field day trolling them. I don't know if you heard any of this stuff. Samsung said, "What's on hold with the Fold, Apple?"
Yeah.
Yeah, and I that one I can tell you because again, this is what I do for a living. That one I can tell you is that the Fold and the Flip, yeah, they're constantly having a problem with that screen. They have not figured out that screen yet on how to get it to stop um, not working in the center where the Fold is. Everything else on the phones work phenomenal, like great phones, solid. They're just wonderful phones. But that Fold spot, that bend in that screen, is the problem, and they haven't figured that out yet. And that's why Apple hasn't done it. I know I've talked to a few people that are in the know, and Apple is currently working on 3 different models of a Flip or a Fold type phone. 3 different models of each, from what I've been told, and
Yeah.
nothing's worked out solid yet. Nothing. It's just not
Well, I
working.
need to get with LG.
Again, I folding flat. I mean, Corsair has got a bendable screen that works, but folding completely down and folding flat, I
LG's
don't
got
know.
that scroll, the Star Trek scroll thing. They've
But
had it for
again,
years.
but free. That's a circle. That's rolling up in a circle. That's fine. This is folding. That's the problem I see.
Yeah, I mean, but there's ways to do that to where it's not a hard crease.
It's still not. It's just such a tight crease.
I mean, it's gonna make your device a little bulkier, but you could
Yeah.
do, a wrap around something curved when you
Yeah.
close
Well,
it.
the fold, the one that does
I mean,
vertical, the fold, the one that does vertical, that is a thick boy when it's folded
yeah.
up. So I don't know how much thicker they want to go. I will give Samsung that credit
That was
though.
like the Lenovo, when they brought back the Razor, the
Yeah.
Motorola Razor,
Yeah.
how thick that foam was, and that was just
Yeah.
100% to keep that screen from actually creasing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wish they would still do that, but some people don't have all the money. I will give Samsung credit though. They did post a picture of 48 megapixels. You're almost there, Apple, because they're like up around 100 or something right now. I will give them that. That was funny. Garmin though, I think Garmin took took him
You know as
what?
well as I do, just having more megapixels doesn't inherently give you good picture quality.
No, not at all. Because again, Samsung claims up to 120 or something like that, and they have a 100x zoom. But I've used the phone with people at work, and 100x zoom works great. Good luck reading anything or seeing. You can see shapes and shit, but
Yeah,
it's just because you can do it doesn't mean you should.
yeah.
We've said that numerous times. Garmin, Garmin's a little bastards though.
God,
I
I
mean,
just defended Apple. What the
you
hell
did.
is going
I'm
on?
enjoying this. Yes, I love this, and it's going to record. Um, Garmin said we measure battery
That's
life in
been my near
months.
death experience. I'm not quite right yet from that.
Not yet, not yet. Still shook. Garmin said we measure battery life in months, not hours, which again is funny, and I get it. That's brilliant. Well played. But your watch is black and white and does about 4 things total. So
Yeah,
you're not exactly drawing on the battery like a full colored 49-inch, 49 millimeter display that's running diagnostics and EKG shit all the time. Like, come on, man. And they also have a solar charger on it on some of their high end watches. It's solar chargeable. So the people that are using a Garmin GPS tracking watch that are out doing marathons and running and hiking and stuff are also having the battery charged right then and there while they're doing these things by the solar power on it. And oh yeah,
yeah. See,
Garmin,
that's innovation that makes sense to me. Not,
I agree.
oh, you were in a car crash.
I agree. I agree 100%, man. And oh, Garmin, stop talking shit because your watch is over $1,000. So you can stop talking shit now. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's my theory. All right, let's get into this week's music.
Are you trying to tell me we're out of time on the first half?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
I see what you did there. That's nice. Well done. So this week's music is a gentleman from Zimbabwe, Dumi Maraire, and the song is called "Out of Time." Now, Fremo, it's about 2 minutes and change long, and I have to run upstairs. I have to go to the bathroom. So for those that are watching on video and I'm not back, hopefully Fremo will be back. But with the grin on his face right now, I'm pretty much going to guarantee you you're going to hear some dead air, or
no.
Or you're going to hear him insulting me tremendously.
Oh, no. No.
You're lying out your ass.
No. I've got a collection of John Keats poems I'm going to start reading.
Oh,
if you're not back.
All right. Okay. Okay, I'm going to leave it on live video then, just to see what happens. Okay.
Do that.
All right. Here's Dumi Maraire, Out of Time, and we'll catch you on the other side for some really big stick style news, lengthy.
Feel my energy, you ain't no friend of me. You say you love me, but you are an enemy. I know it's envy, I know it's jealousy. I know the truth, but what you pretend to be scared. So I'm moving with precaution. Know the type, I seen it often. Hella shady, boy, I'm hella wavy. Have them going crazy like a mosh pit. I'm built different, man, I feel different. Even chill different when I whoop side. We laugh and I breeze past and I might blast on the future. You don't wanna hear my shoe toss. Dance on you with our shoes tied. When they find out that you lie, you're out of time. Tick-tock, homie. When the clock strikes 13 and the day turns into night, they can beg, pray, and grieve as the tears fall from their eyes. Every flower will fade, every face will wrinkle, every casket will close, but you're running out of time. How do you know? When it's time to go? It's run its course. You file for divorce, you hop in the Porsche and get on the road. But how do you know? When it's time to fight, You dodging bullets, death is coming. Might be your time, but not tonight. Yeah, big house, living fast. Yeah, hella women, hella cash. Yeah, I'm not wild, I just figured out every day here could be my last. Yeah, bad and bougie is my lifestyle. Champagne with my feet out. I'm committed every day, I live it. Every day I get it till I'm see now. Yeah, drinking the wine, look at the view, enjoying my time. Chasing the dreams, they stay out of reach. Fly to Miami, have sex on the beach. Head to Paris, Eiffel Tower. Dropping the top, smelling the flowers. Grinding the city until it's ours. I'm gonna get it until my time. When the clock strikes 13 and the day turns into night, they can beg, pray, and grieve as the tears fall from their eyes. Every flower will fade, every face will wrinkle, every casket will close, but you're running out of time. When the clock strikes 13 and the day turns into night, they can beg, pray, and grieve as the tears fall from their eyes. Every flower will fade, every face will wrinkle, every casket will close, but you're running out of time.
All right. Dumi Maraire, Zimbabwe, Out of Time. And Phoenix is surprisingly back. Holy
made
cow,
it.
folks. You must have run. Did you install a slide on the stairs to get down quicker?
No, but I did slide down the stairs.
Okay, is that what that was?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Okay.
I did the whole skiing thing. Remember when you were kids, you skied down the kind of stairs? I did that.
Yeah.
Get my flip-flops on. So, before we even start, what do I have? Well,
I
got
didn't
the
get a
traditional.
chance to start the poem. I'm so disappointed.
I'm so sorry to disappoint you, Free, but that seems to be our relationship now, isn't it?
Yes, you do disappoint me on a regular.
That's my job there, buddy. Okay, that's good. That's some honey whiskey. And then to kick that back is the Especial.
Oh, yeah? I know I disappointed you last week with drinking the Hope.
Not really. You know what? It's almost that
So,
time of year. It's almost that time of year to get the Modelo Negro. Time to start switching that over. As soon as Mariah Carey and Michael Bublé thaw off, and my wife and kids start running around the house with fucking pumpkin spice shit.
you want to take a guess?
Especial in the can. Nice, a 16 ounce. Oh, I envy you. They don't have that around here.
Guess again, sir.
Oh,
I
that's
don't know
the
if I can
big
get
one.
that to focus, but
Is
this
it the
is
64?
This is the double. This is a big boy. This is a 24 ounce.
I envy you. That is delightful right there. You know what? I'm not gonna say I envy you because I do like it out of glass, and I think you're the one that taught me that.
Yeah.
Beer out of glass.
Beer out of glass tastes way better than out of aluminum any day of the week. Same thing with soda, by the way.
Yeah.
Buy one of the
Yeah,
glass Coke bottles, or my favorite out of a bottle is Sparks root beer.
and even though I do like Sparks root beer, really.
Barks.
Oh, Barks. Yeah, I love Barks. Barks is
Yeah.
so good. Do you have any A&W chains down there anymore? But at all when we were kids?
Yeah, I mean we did
Yeah, when we were kids, right?
back when that was a thing.
Yeah, I always liked their root beer. I
And
thought
then
that
there
was good.
was A&W, Long John Silver's, and
Yeah, Long John Silver's.
slash something else, like all wedged into one building at one point.
Oh, like a Baskin Robbins. They fucking bought into everything. You'd be like,
Yeah,
hey,
they're like,
welcome
well,
to
let's see. We've got a couple of failing food chains here. How should we recover? Oh, let's just stick them all under one roof.
up here in the Northeast. You could walk in and be like, this is Payless Shoes and Baskin Robbins. Like, how the fuck am I buying shoes and ice cream? And that would work. It was weird.
Have you been to
Another thing,
Baskin Robbins recently?
recently, no.
Good Lord.
Why?
Wife and I decided to get a banana split one day. I picked her up from work.
Yeah.
We had a little time to kill.
Uh-huh.
Don't know why we came up with, let's go get a banana split at Baskin Robbins. Hope you
Okay.
made your car payment before you went.
No.
God, it's
Did it get out of-
ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You know, like used to, you get like a triple scoop and a waffle cone. You spend like $3,
Yeah.
$4.
Five tops.
Yeah. Yeah. Scoop of ice cream's that much now.
No.
If you want to go with a triple scoop,
You're
you got
paying
to
some
plan
dollars.
ahead. You got to plan ahead.
You got-
if you're getting the banana split,
So
it
here's
might be worth calling ahead and seeing what they'll charge you if you bring your own banana.
let Fremo and I give you a good tip for all you sheeple out there. If you what the fuck? Yeah, I am scam likely. No, my warranty for my car is fine. Let Fremo and I give you a quick tip. If you walk into an establishment, food, especially food, or anywhere else, and they actually have an ATM machine right next to where you pay, odds are it's going to be more expensive than you think.
Yeah. So, do you get with all the call warranty? My response, like I just take it to where I like start answering them, like when I know that's
Yeah.
what it's going to be.
Yep.
And they're like, "We're calling about your car warranty," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, what car?" And, you know, oh the 2000 whatever, blah blah blah, and I'm like, "Yeah, that got repossessed." But thanks.
Oh,
Or-
I get them.
Or we're calling about your mortgage. Was it premium insurance, mortgage, PIM, whatever that is? We're calling to help reduce your insurance premiums on your mortgage. Oh yeah, I got foreclosed on. Thanks.
Thanks for saying that. I like the ones that call for the computers and they inform me that I have a Windows computer. And you know me, it's only the production computers and the gaming computer that I have that are PC. Everything else is Apple. So those are off. Like when we get done with the show and we're not gaming or something, this is probably going to be off if I'm not editing. Just because I just don't need that draw. I have a 1,000-watt fucking power supply in this thing.
Yeah.
So the gaming computer upstairs is always off unless somebody's using it. So the only thing that's on consistently is my Mac, and the guy is arguing with me on the phone. He's like, "No, you have a Windows PC." I'm like, "No, I don't," because I know you and I both know that if it's not on, you're not seeing it. So I'm
Yeah.
like, "No, I don't." They're like, "Yes, we can see it. It's infected." No, I don't. And he argued with me, so I don't buy into those scams at all. They're
Oh,
completely
I have fun with those guys. If I have the time, I'll sit down. I'll have like a 30-minute conversation with them until they get frustrated and hang up.
about your car warranty.
No, about the PC.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
oh, it's infected. Oh gosh,
Yeah.
what do I do about that? Okay, are you in front of your PC now? Yeah. Okay, do this, do that, and I'm like, It's like, man, it's just my mouse won't even move right. Yeah, you're right. This thing's messed up. We need to put TeamViewer on there, whatever they're using.
Yeah. It's TeamViewer.
And I'm like,
I'm like, okay,
yeah,
download Hamachi.
I can't even get it to download. Like it says I'm not even connected to the internet now. How do I fix this?
Oh, when I do it,
I'm trying to turn it into a troubleshooting call because they want that money so bad. They'll actually sit and talk to you for a little while trying to get you on the internet.
Yes, they will.
And so I'll sit and I'll do that with them for a little while until they get so frustrated they hang up.
See, people, this is why Freemo and I fuck with people so much. Because it's shit like this, okay? So Freemo's doing that, and in the meantime, I'm sitting there and I'm downloading the wrong shit. Or at least I'm telling them I am. They're like, you download TeamViewer. And I'm like, I have Microsoft Teams. That'll work, right? It's Teams, same thing. No, sir. You need to download TeamViewer. Okay, I can't find it. So I have Skype. You use Skype? We can do it on Skype. Do you have Cash App? Do you have what do you have? No, sir. You need to download TeamViewer. All right, I downloaded Hamachi. That should work. Sir, I don't even know what that is. Well, you don't know what Hamachi is? Oh, I'm sorry. You
the way I
probably
look
don't
at
work
it,
for
every
Microsoft.
minute I can keep them on the phone is a minute that somebody else isn't getting scammed by them.
Correct. The best thing, in my opinion, the best thing is when I do get them on and I say, do you have Teams? And they go, no, I don't. Well, you work for Microsoft. How do you not have Teams? That's like work for Apple and saying I don't have an iCloud account.
My other favorite is this is federal. I work for the federal government department, and we've got a warrant. And if you don't pay this now, we're gonna have to issue this warrant. And I'm always like, oh man, yeah. I was like, I knew that'd catch up with me sooner or later. So how do we need to do this? Oh, by the way, you said you were with what department? Okay. You do know that, and if you want to start this call over, we can, or if you want to call me back and start it over, however we do this, so you don't get in trouble. But you're supposed to give me your name and your federal ID number whenever you're calling a U.S. citizen about business. So go ahead and do that now, so we get that in the recording for you, because I don't want you to get in trouble. Click.
I love how much of a dick you can be too.
But it's true. They have to identify themselves and give their federal ID number.
They don't.
You call it, and they're like, "What? I told you who I am." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but if they review this call and you didn't give me your federal ID number, you could get in trouble, man. I don't want that for you."
Right. They don't realize, like, sometimes they call the wrong people, and this is one of those examples. So another example you can follow on YouTube. I can't remember the guy's name, but there's reverse scams where they reverse dial in, and they actually look at the web camera and stuff, and they tell them what color shirt they're wearing and shit. It's great.
They'll run a virtual machine to let the hackers into the virtual machine, and the virtual machine like has that dude's picture on the scammer's picture on as his wallpaper. I mean, I've seen them do that before.
I've explained that.
Why is my picture on your computer?
I've explained that to a bunch of my clients. I was like, they're like, I don't understand how. I'm like, okay, here's how the reverse hackers do it. They run a virtual box. I like VirtualBox. I don't know about you, but I love VirtualBox. And they load Windows on there, and it's like a sandbox.
I prefer the real box, but it's just me.
I don't even have a comment. Douche. So let's get into the 6th out. We can get that going.
Gaming.
Worst friggin' intro ever. I'm going to change it someday.
At this point, it's like that wart on your foot that you just, it's been there so long, it's a friend now.
It's a friend. How the fuck? The wart is your friend? That's great, Free.
He's been with you through so many things. It's just hard to get rid of him, you know. He was there, the blizzard of '93.
I told that story the other day. Before we get into Six Style, I know we're constantly going off track, especially the second half. You sent me a picture years ago. You sent me a picture like, yeah, dude, you want a game today? I got nothing going on. We had some snow and the schools are closed. I'm like, oh my God, you guys had snow down there? You're like, yeah, 3 inches. And I went, really? And I sent you a picture.
I mean, I realize that that's nothing, but I take advantage of it.
Correct.
Because everybody down here is like, oh.
Yeah, you were telling me that. You're like, plows are out. And I'm like, plows?
Yeah.
So people that don't understand, Fremo lives in the southeast. I live in the northeast. So when Fremo gets snow of 3 inches, that's a big deal to them. And they shut down everything and school's closed. Up here, 3 inches is literally not even a school delay. Like your boss doesn't want to hear that it took you too long. We're not even shoveling 3 inches. It's literally going to be gone by the afternoon. So Fremo sends me a picture one day. He's like, yeah, 3 inches. I forgot. It was probably at your old house. And you sent me a picture of like the cul-de-sac. I don't know if it was a cul-de-sac or something, but you sent me a picture and it was just 3 inches of snow on the ground with a couple of tire tracks. You know, yeah, kids don't have school. I'm hanging at home. I'm going to game all day. I'm like, cool, I'm down. Because up here, we were coming down the second day of a 2-foot storm. So I sent you a picture of my street. And you're like, where's the sidewalk? I'm like, yeah, we're not going to see that till like April, May.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
But that's the equivalent. 3 inches here is like, at least a foot and a half there.
Oh, easily.
As far as what it does to shutting everything down.
And our 80 degrees, 85 degrees is like Fremo's 100 degrees. It's way different, which is why
getting hot, and I'm like, what are you talking about? 85? That's super comfortable.
Exactly. I'm down there and I'm going, oh, I'm so fucking sweating. But at the same time, when you come up here, it's like, wow, this shit's cold.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you talking about? It's summer.
It's like 85 in the shade is beautiful. What do you mean it's hot?
All right, let's get into the first story this week. How far did I screw up? Oh, I screwed up big time. Oh,
That's
my
like
God.
At one time when you were... wasn't the last time you hear it, it was the first time you came down. And it was like 9:30, 10 o'clock. Like the sun had been down for a while. And it was still like 87 degrees. And he just looked at me and goes, does it ever cool down?
We were out by the pool at the hotel. Like, what the fuck is this?
Does it ever cool down?
Because
I'm like, I was like, yeah, it'll get down to low 80s before the sun comes up again.
Could be. I remember you saying that. Oh my God, that's so funny. Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Like I think he would have slept in the shallow end of the pool if they had let him stay out there.
Easily. Yeah, 100%. So I gotta lay an insect because the second half requires an insect. I don't care if anybody calls me fat in the chat. I'm not fat, I'm big boned. I'm pleasantly plump.
You tell yourself that.
I will. Because 9 times out of 10, I'm still gonna fuck you up in a fight.
Nah.
Yeah,
I got the one move.
Yes, tell them the story, Free.
Oh, I can run faster scared than you can mad, so.
Oh, that is also factual. That is 100% factual.
All I gotta do is give me a sack of donuts and start moving a little quicker than you and tossing them over my shoulder.
What the hell is that?
But the one story he's talking about was, I don't know, what were you at that time? That would have been maybe 3rd degree black belt back then?
Yeah, about 3rd.
Somewhere around there?
Yeah, because
it was the first time we ever physically met.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we've been gaming for a couple of years, easily. I mean, we knew each other's kids' birthdays and everything
Easily
else.
10 years. Easily 10 years gaming. Easily.
And
2002 to 92? No, that doesn't make sense.
No, it was 5 or 6. Yeah, it could have been close to.
You were married to your ex, and I was married to my ex. So that's over 10 years ago.
Yeah, it was over 10 years ago. I'm just saying we'd been gaming probably about 5 years, 4 to 5 years, somewhere in that time frame before we actually physically met. And it was up in Massachusetts for some training for a week-long thing, new HP Pro Curve switches that were coming out back in the day. So that's how long ago that was.
Gosh,
But
that's right. I forgot all
yeah.
about the HP curves. Yeah.
Anyway, I get done with Friday, get done with all that, delayed, swap my flight to Sunday because I was going to go hang out with Phoenix for 2 days.
Yeah.
So I come rolling up there Friday afternoon, and I pull up, I park on the street, and I get out. He peeks around out of the garage, and kids peek out from around, back of the house, and he starts walking down the driveway, and I start walking up, and he's like, Freeman, and I was like, Phoenix. And I got probably then not quite actual striking distance of him, but I did the whole, like I was going to go at him and throw a punch. And his reflexes kicked in, and he does this chopping block coming from the shoulder down to his right shoulder to left knee, right? But there was nothing to block, so his follow through, he hits himself in the nuts, drops to his knees. It's been a beautiful friendship ever since.
That is so factual.
And that is how I defeated a 3rd degree black belt in Kempo without having to lay a hand on him.
And the funny thing is that when you get higher in rank, you realize that was the absolute wrong thing you should have done. It was great if it worked, but it didn't work. And there's a reason why. But anyway, I digress. Let's get to stick style because there's a lot to cover this week. And
do not take that as a tutorial on how to engage with a black belt, folks. Please do not. I'm not touting my skills or new methodology here. It's just a funny story.
Right, and because now I'm a 7th, and it's a dramatic difference. Even with weight gain after COVID, it's a dramatic difference. Even recently, I used the least amount of force necessary to subdue somebody, and it shut up. I don't want to talk about it. Maybe after the show.
I'm just going to say this. When you were originally telling me about what happened, I literally had the video playing in my head, and I wish. I guarantee you, based on just the small amount of information you gave me, I could recreate a reasonable representation of events. I just need to know the dimensions of the porch. That's it.
Yes. I'm
fairly sure I could get together. I could get some people together and shoot a video reenactment of events that transpired that day.
Yes, you probably could. I had an interaction. It was on a porch, like Fremo said, and I used the least amount of force possible to just slow somebody down. That's it, and I ended up getting arrested. But that's exactly what happened. I'm like, you're throwing a chair at me?
Are you done?
That's what I said. I'm sorry to laugh.
I don't want to go all Marvel on you, but I could do this all day.
Yeah, and literally, I could do this all day. Just stop. And I kept telling him that. I'm like, stop. And he just wouldn't listen. I'm like, stop. I'm trying not to hurt you.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, let's get into it. So first thing up is Nintendo Direct. So Freemo and I aren't huge Nintendo fans anymore. We were when we were kids, but it's definitely fun to still talk about it. It was a 40-minute live stream, and they focused on their winter lineup. And the biggest news would be the anticipation of a new Legend of Zelda, which they did. Yeah. It's called Tears of the Kingdom, and it's coming in May 12th. They're also announced a shit ton of other games. So let me just run through them because they're not going to matter to fucking anybody but Nintendo fans, which is great. I just want to. I'm not going to talk about each one. It's They're not, because a lot of times, Fremont, I'll tell you, over 20 years, we've seen so many games announced at shows that never came out.
Yeah.
You know, Chronicles of Riddick took friggin' forever to come out. Butcher's Bay came out. It was phenomenal. And then they just killed the series and pulled it from the store. It was just awful. Blur,
Well, I didn't realize
Project
that,
Gotham.
Realize that Nintendo has been partnering with older 80s, 90s rap artists.
Are they?
Well, apparently they got a game coming out called It Takes Two.
It takes two to make a thing go right. It takes two to... We gotta stop. Neither of us is the same. So here's some of the games that are coming out that they announced. Fire Emblem Engaged. I shouldn't have drank that half pint. Fire Emblem Engaged. It Takes Two, which is a co-op platformer that Fremo talked about. Fatal Frame Remake. Xenoblade Chronicle 2. Fist of the North Star, which is a classic. Tunic, which is a puzzle adventurer. Remakes of all the Front Mission games. GameCube game, Story of Seasons, which was actually kind of cool. Splatoon 3. Lazy Eye 006. Fight of the Phoenix. Octopath Traveler 2. Fae Farm, Fairy Tale Farming, Final Fantasy Rhythm Game, Mario and Rabbids, Sparks of Hope, Rune Factory 3, Switch Sports, about fucking time that they do a sports game. So, Fremo and I will agree that Nintendo Wii had the best sports game ever. You could grab anybody that comes over to your house, grandma, grandpa, aunts, uncles, doesn't matter, throw a controller in a hand and play a tennis game, play a golf game, it doesn't matter. Those are the games that sell. Yeah. Fremont, I'll tell you, I don't care what platform you're on, you need one or two of those games. That's going to be not only a selling point, which is a marketing thing, but it's also going to be something that pulls. You always talk about pulling the family together and the family unit and all this shit, but you never give us a game to do that. You never do. You know, split screen or whatever. No, give us the game like Mario Party that just allows 4 people to constantly play together. What?
I'm sorry. What do you think Call of Duty's for?
Oh, come on. That's... come on.
Bullshit.
That's garbage. You know it.
Forget you're not from the gun culture.
No, it's not. What a dick. It's not just the gun culture thing. Look, and I want to disclose
Nice headshot,
this.
oh, that's going to give me some hate mail.
I just want to disclose this before I get hate mail. I am not anti-gun. I think everybody should own one, and I will fight for your right to own one. I personally do not own one, nor will I.
I know.
But
that's what I'm saying. That's why you don't get that Call of Duty would be a family game.
It's not a fucking family. It's not a family game. It's a game you can play with a family, but it's not a family game. Fuck you. It's not whatever.
That's fine. Judge my family. I don't care.
Shut up!
So, Mario Strikers is another game. Pikmin 4, which I love the Pikmin games. I don't know if you've ever seen those. I know you don't play Nintendo, but Pikmin is fucking fun. Just Dance 2023. Why? Then you have the N64 games that are being taken back from... They're being put on the Switch as downloadable content. I think that's great, because this is where Nintendo N64 and GameCube is where Gen Xers kind of like... We love that shit. And honestly, that was probably some of the best gamings. 007, the WrestleMania games, the Pikmin games, Star Wars Squadrons, Star Wars X-Wing. There were so many games in those 2 platforms that work so well. But they're going to drop a couple of other ones. Pilot Wings, Mario Party 2, Mario Party 3, Freemo vs. Everyone 2001, Pokemon Stadium 2, 1080 Snowboarding. 1080 Snowboarding was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Excitebike 64. Again, if you are a Nintendo fan, if you've ever played a Nintendo, Excitebike is fucking where it's at. Again, a multiplayer game for the family. Anybody? Here's a controller. Go ahead, beat me in this.
Yeah.
GoldenEye 007. Many more on the remaster side.
Yeah.
What?
I was thinking, out of all the games listed, the one that I would actually, if I had just the money to just go drop on a Nintendo right now,
Yeah.
would be either to play the new Zelda. I'm a big Zelda fan from way back in the day.
Definitely, 100%.
I would not mind seeing where that franchise has ended up. But
Great. My sons play it.
yeah, I mean, even if that wasn't coming out, I would buy a new one just for the 64 games. If I just had the money to just go drop on a console.
So I had a Switch, and then one of my sons decided that they don't want to share with their brother anymore, and they borrowed mine. I have yet to receive it back.
And you fell for the bait
I did, 100%.
on the Switch.
Yes.
Oh, come on, that was good. You fell for the bait on the Switch. In Switch. Nothing.
No.
I'm getting crickets here.
Yep.
No props for the wordplay on bait and switch.
Oh, I see it now. Nice. Well done. But Nintendo was
People wonder why I treat you so badly. It's because I get no love, no respect. I feel very fortunate and blessed that I can treat my boss like such a douche canoe.
I have heard, I'm not your boss. I've heard one time over 20 years.
Doesn't say Freemo Media Group.
I will say that over 20 years, I have once heard that other guy that you do the show with doesn't like you, does he? I'm like, well, he does and he doesn't. It depends on what we're talking about that day.
Someone actually asked that? You? The other guy doesn't show you doesn't like you?
Yes.
That's brilliant. That means we did our job. That means our whole protagonist antagonist vibe was working that day. What show was that? We need to replicate. We had one good show in 20 years. Someone got it.
It is so true.
I mean, you only have to have one really good performance to win an Oscar. So,
oh my God! What? But it is true.
That's awesome.
Okay. So wait a minute. Oh, my eyes are watering. So Nintendo wasn't the only one to have an announcement. It was also Sony, which is another fan favorite of Freemo.
Oh God. I'm about to stuff the comment box, suggestion box. Get ready.
Yeah.
So tell me, you can do one of three things in a given show. You can talk about Sony, talk about Halo, or you can talk about Apple. You got to pick one, and that's it for the show.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, I know you're the boss. You make the rules. Fine,
No,
let's do the Sony thing.
I actually wanted you to say something.
Something.
Yeah, no, I want you to say something about what you think of the state of play, because I truly feel that Microsoft doesn't do a good job of really announcing anything. Like, they just dropped the Discord update, which, by the way, is extremely convoluted, which is why we're not talking about it on the show yet, because it's a pain in the ass, to say the very least. It's designed for people that are playing on their computer, not on the console, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But it's a disaster. But
we talked about that. We talked about that maybe 3 shows ago about with the build out of the PlayStation 5 and the latest Xbox.
Yeah.
That it's essentially coming back around to PC gaming.
It is. And I think I think we agreed that PC gaming has got about 5 years left, if that. And I'm sorry, console gaming has got 5 years left, if that. And then it's going
Yeah.
to be PC based.
And we said 15, 20 years ago that
Yeah,
consoles
we
were
did.
great, but PC gaming will never die.
Nope.
And
Yeah.
that's where that is where gaming lives and
That's the money.
breathes.
That's the money.
You know, that
100%
console
that's the
gaming will
money.
bring additional people into the gaming world, so to speak, but that actual gamers will never lay down their PCs.
It's true. And I just I feel bad because I love consoles. I love the limited edition consoles. You've been to my house. You've seen the amount of limited edition consoles I have. And I'm not even close to being done yet. Because I still want to buy ones to hang on the wall. But
Right.
it's you can't disrespect the PC gaming world. Excuse me. And now that you have Stadia, you have Amazon Prime Gaming, you have Xbox, basically Xbox on every PC. You have PlayStation Now. I downloaded the latest update on PlayStation Now on my PC upstairs on the game on the Six Style. So again, sixstyle.com. You can go to the Six Style show on Twitter and you can see what we're doing. And again,
Speaking of
it's
Big Style, if we hurry up, I might be able to get some Wreckfest in right after the show.
I'm trying. It's a lot of shit to get through, buddy.
I'm just letting you know. But yeah, the State of Play, which is Sony's version of the Apple Snooze Fest, but it actually was interesting.
It was. And Fremo, okay, so I want people to understand because Fremo will never say it like this. Fremo appreciates Sony PlayStation. Like I appreciate Windows. I do. It's a solid OS. I use it for production. But I'm an Apple fan. He is not.
Yeah.
Same thing with he's an Xbox fanboy forever, which is great. I love Xbox. I'm on there all the time. But I think PlayStation is a better console, which is what makes our show dynamic so great.
I think PlayStation wins in certain areas that don't matter.
Oh, come on. Really don't matter?
Like some of the hardware specs.
Yeah.
I think PlayStation hands down beats Xbox year after year after year. But
say that again.
Some of the technical specs of the hardware, Sony wins that just hands down.
Yeah, they do.
But the problem is the people that, and this is what we were just talking about, between your hardcore PC gamers versus console gamers. Console gamers, for the most part, they don't care about the hardware specs. They want to turn their TV on, they want to hit play, and they want to do what they're doing.
And Fremont and I are here to tell you there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing. You're going to get 60 to 120 frames a second. You're going to be on a console. It's never going to fail unless the console itself dies. You're not going to have that problem. On PC, you have a litany of other issues. Yeah. You can have anything from GPU,
so
PSU,
I
CPU.
think from that standpoint, yeah, Sony is a better product in many ways, but in stuff that doesn't matter to your average console gamer.
I see, and I disagree because I think the GUI
now one of the other things that they do win at is the interface, hands down, all day long.
Okay.
Which does matter to your console gamer.
Yeah, to me it does.
It does. Your PC gamer doesn't care how big of a menu they have to go through, what settings they have. They may be 75 settings for a game that they have to go in and tweak, but that's what they want to do. That's what they're about.
With you. So on PC game, I will agree 110%. When I hit the PC, I'm clicking on an app. And I want it to load and play.
Yeah.
Mother Gunship's a good example. We've been playing on 6.0. We've been playing Mother Gunship. And I agree 110%. Mother Gunship should just launch and work. And if it doesn't, I'm going to have a problem with my computer, and that's going to piss me off. On a console, that would never happen. When we launch Wreckfest on a console, regardless of which one it is, it works every friggin' time. Every time.
Yeah.
That's what you want. So let's get to Sony's state of play. It wasn't the greatest show. It was 20 minutes long. Some things could have been done in a fucking blog, honestly. It just didn't need to be done. Like, this is one of those ones that Sony did, and I'm like, come on, Sony. Tekken 8, of course, the release date hasn't been set, but Tekken 8, it's Tekken. It's the fucking shit for hand-to-hand combat. Not to do injustice, any disrespect, because that's a great game, but Tekken is the father of them all, and Tekken 8 is about to come out. Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge is a VR game, and this is what people don't realize from the state of play. They're really pushing VR, and they should. The VR2, which we'll get to in a second, is phenomenal. So one of the other games that they released was Demio, which is a tabletop Dungeons and Dragons type game that's VR set.
Right.
Like a Dragon Ishin, which is a Yakuza spin-off. Hogwarts Legacy, which is not much other than the trailer at this point. They haven't done anything.
And don't really care.
Yeah, right. Pacific Drive looks like a dystopian future game with car violence, which I like. So you're driving a fucking wagon, a Caprice wagon that's all decked out for dystopian future, which I'm going to give this one a whirl when it comes out. Yeah. PlayStation Stars, everyone was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Did you watch the video by any chance?
It's...
If you're shaking your head, you did.
Okay. The explanation I have for this whole thing, I'm not going to get into specifics of it, but my explanation for this whole thing is somebody who's fairly high up, I won't say a CEO, but at least a department head.
Sure.
In the gaming division of Sony.
Yeah.
Has that cousin that they owe for some reason, and that cousin's kid, who is less than competent,
developed the game,
has been given a job, and this was the game.
Yeah, that tracks,
and it has to go all the way through because you owe the cousin, and you can't tell anybody why you owe them, and you can't deny the cousin. So, PlayStation Stars.
That is so true. It is such a useless, nobody understands what the fuck it is. So we're going to move on from that because if you see, watch the video. I feel bad for the lady.
Oh, jeez.
You can even tell the lady that's doing the announcing is like, I have no fucking clue what we're doing.
And then there's...
I'm going to read this card, but I don't know. So Stellar Blade is coming out, and that's also remember Project Eve?
Yeah,
This is
exactly. That's
okay.
Well, I was going to say that reminded me of that. So,
Rise of the Ronin is very much like Ghost of Tsushima, but it's
I would love to play that game.
Ghost of Tsushima?
No, Rise of the Ronin.
Oh, dude, Ghost of Tsushima. If there was one game outside of God of War,
God of War, God of War, gotta play God of War.
Really, Gears of War. If somebody never played Xbox, tell me you wouldn't recommend Gears of War. Any of
as their first game?
Yeah,
on Xbox.
Yeah.
Or
no. Wait, as a franchise game. Because I know you won't recommend Halo. You will never recommend Halo. You will never. I would, but you would not. So, Gears of War, would you not
Halo
recommend
1 or
that?
Halo 2?
Oh, 1, because you got to start them off.
Okay, I could go with that. I could go with Halo. The original Halo. Halo 2. I'd even go so far as to say play Halo 3. Just don't expect that the multiplayer is going to run right.
Okay, that's fair.
After that,
whatever.
Oh wait, wrong fingers.
So Ghost of Tsushima is probably the finest hack and slash story I have ever played on any console. It's like I love God of War. I love Halo. I mean, I really love Halo. You know that. I mean, I got a fucking helmet right behind me. I love.
Yeah, is that that's what Sergeant Second Class helmet?
No, shut the fuck up. So Gears of War is another one. You and I will stand by Gears of War till the end of
Master
time.
Chief.
Just no, not even
Gears of War.
Master Chief. But Gears of War, I think people talk about Halo a lot, and I agree. But I think Gears of War is truly the franchise game for Xbox. And you and I have talked about this at length in other games. 100%. It's one of those games that
There's
now,
actually a universe if
yeah,
because that word gets thrown around a lot nowadays. But there's actually a universe that was, and it's fairly cohesive.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Start to finish.
Yeah, and you can jump into anything. Say if you want to do what Freeman and I did to get the
and you got Coltrane.
Was it Gears 2? Coltrane. Woo! If you want
Which was
to do
a brilliant character to introduce at the time because you had Terry Tate, office linebacker.
Yep.
Which was a big deal at that time when that character came out. And you can't tell me the dude wasn't modeled in some degree.
No, 100%. But even like the Horde matches that we played and we got to level 50, you know, those were done in an early version of Gears of War. But Gears of War franchise itself has always remained the same and not changed. Freeman doesn't play Halo, but Halo has made has evolved in some ways that may not be good. Gears kind of hasn't done that. That's why I picked Gears as my franchise game for that. On the other side, God of War, of course, is a franchise game. But Ghost of Tsushima is really fucking up there. It's very similar in Japan, but Rise of Ronin, I feel, is very much a sequel to. It's not, but it's got the same feeling as Ghost of Tsushima. God of War got a special edition controller, which is purple. I'm gonna own it, but I'm not gonna use it. I just don't like it. I think it's ugly as fuck. But it's part
Take
of
an old one that's busted and hydro dip it purple. Call it a God of War one. Save you some bucks. It's going to be hanging on a wall slightly out of focus anyway. So
the bigger talk at the PlayStation event was the VR. I think.
Yeah.
And as much as I can't wait, I am not going to have you come down here until I have the VR 2, because it's just on that whole other. I thought the PlayStation VR was great for middle income. I think the Oculus, one of my kids have that they asked for Christmas, is
Oculus
way
2,
expensive. Yeah, I think it's way expensive and you need too much. Over the years, we've built him up with like ankle shit and wrist shit, and I just want to play a VR
Oculus 2 was only about $300.
Oh, but once you get like the attachments and the Wi-Fi, like for the wrists and shit, it costs more. Anyway, 2 games
It's
were
coming
demoed.
from an Apple person.
Shut up.
Okay.
2 main games were demoed for the
I'm not going to buy an
VR2.
Oculus 2 because I might end up dropping $1,000 by the time I get all the accessories. Oh, there's a new Apple Watch, $1,200. Gotta have it.
You don't want to say hi?
You're doing a show.
Yeah, I know I'm doing a show, but the show's already gone too long.
There's my favorite New Englander.
He says it's your favorite New Englander.
He's not a New Englander.
No, you're his favorite.
Yeah, I should be, not you, me.
Why should it be?
Yeah,
you?
that's what I said.
He's dealt with all of this for how long?
20 years.
I'm cuter. I have cuter features, right?
You do.
Flea?
You do have.
Yes. I did clarify to her. I said she is my favorite New Englander.
I did clarify to her that she
No,
is your
I
favorite.
said.
I just told you what I said.
Oh my God!
I gotta go upstairs.
Can you speak English?
I can. I have no problem speaking English. So there's 2 games that were demoed: Horizon Call of the Mountain and Resident Evil Village. And as you well know, Resident Evil Village is phenomenal, and neither of us play it, but it is got accolades coming out of its ass. One of
Yeah.
the features I'm excited about is the button right up, which I think is brilliant finally, because this is an issue I have. So when I do VR, I lock the house down because I have this fear of somebody like yourself coming in, like my brothers used to do, and coming in and hit me in the nuts. Let's be honest.
No, that is wrong.
Okay,
That is
no,
not how you
bullshit.
go about messing with somebody doing VR.
When I
You
move
don't
next to you,
directly. You don't directly attack someone doing VR. You Helen Keller their shit.
dude, that is
Oh,
so.
that's gonna give me some hate mail.
You drag that little low bench right across where they're walking.
Oh my God, Free.
Okay.
Oh, that's gonna give me some hate mail.
You don't physically
His
strike them.
views
You
are
just
not
find.
Phoenix Media Group.
Look, if it wasn't for hate mail, we wouldn't get emails some weeks. So I don't want to hear it.
That is true. That's factual right there, people.
Was it? Was it? Was it? There's no bad press.
It's true. So on the front of the original VR unit from PlayStation, you couldn't see shit. You gotta lift up the unit to grab your remotes or whatever you need to do.
Right.
On the new unit, there's a button that you can click that'll allow you to view. There's two cameras outside the actual VR that'll allow you to view what's happening in real time, which I think is great. That's
Yeah, the
going to add me
Oculus
so
T
much.
has that.
Yeah. Again, Sony's not recreating the wheel here; they're just getting into the game.
Yeah.
There's still one cord. It's not wireless, and the reason why is because the one that's been wireless, which I believe was the Oculus 2, probably the HTC Vive. But it could only do slow quality, like really low quality, because of the Wi-Fi. And this one's still corded, but you don't need a breakout box like you had to do in the original one. It's just basically one single cord that plugs into the front of the PlayStation 5. I'm looking forward to it. The controllers, the two controllers that look like the Oculus controllers, actually have the same features as the DualSense. So they have the haptic feedback, they have the vibration. Even the headset has vibration, which is going to be crazy when you get hit in the head if they ever release a UFC fighting game. Smack, smack, smack. You get a concussion from a fucking game. Imagine that.
Yeah, I can. I can also imagine the people that never take their VR headsets off too.
There's a lot.
Now that they have the functionality to be able to view the real world without lifting the goggles up. Bro's already got. He ordered the attachment for the Oculus 2.
Yep.
Because it's got a battery pack, right?
Yeah.
The Oculus 2 does, and you charge it. And he's got. He ordered a new headband thingy that's got a magnetic battery pack on it.
Oh, cool.
So he literally, when battery 1 gets low, he just puts battery 2 on and recharges 1.
Nice. Yeah, love it. Love it.
I was like, you may have to buy a couple extra battery packs depending on how much you're using it, but
so that's
could technically never turn off his Oculus,
which is great because we do the same thing with our controllers and our headsets right now. So that was the end of the PS5 stuff, really. The only other thing I want to talk about with the PS5 is DBrand, which is a company I truly love. Now, before I even start,
and that was not a sarcastic love, folks. He actually loves DBrand.
I do. They're the original bad boy. They're a Vancouver-based company that is super snarky. They make iPhone skins, they make laptop skins, they make screen protectors, and they make leather phone cases. And here's the kicker that that the wife and I looked at today. Their leather phone cases, regardless of which version you pick, are actual leather. So a lot of times in the years, when I've seen leather this and leather that, and it's slab of fake leather on top of plastic glued.
Yeah, it's pleather, leather-like.
Correct. They actually do real leather phone cases to the point where on their website, and again, they're snarky, go to their fucking website, DBrand.com. When you scroll down, it'll show you 365 days of wear on an iPhone leather case. And it's legitimate leather because it actually wears. Anybody that's ever owned leather knows that it wears. That's the benefit of having leather, is that it wears properly. Like, it'll fit you properly in a couple of years. It shows some time into it, which is cool. And that's what these phone cases do. But their real claim to fame is their plates for the PS5. No, they made the first set in 2021, like the beginning of 2021. And I think I said on this show, and I talked to you before about it, PlayStation 5 we're getting, and the white is fucking ugly. It's just ugly. Gray was okay. Black was great. But white is ugly.
Yeah.
Their system was ugly. So you want to get something black. And they dared. DBrand came out with the plates for the front and the back. As soon as Sony announced that, yeah, you can remove these plates and replace the hard drive and blah, 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 blah. DBrand came out with the plates, the black plates.
Mhm.
And I immediately ordered them. Phenomenal packaging. Great packaging. And they were gorgeous. They're the perfect plates. They're black and they're great. But because essentially it was a piece of plastic and it doesn't modify the unit in any way, they thought that they were going to get sued. Well, Sony eventually sued the shit out of them. And then Sony, like, immediately released, sent them the cease and desist order. They immediately released colored plates, which I thought was a slap in the face. I have one of the original plates. And if you look at the original plates, let me just get over to that picture. As I have in the YouTube video, the original plates had these logos pressed into the front of them, or the back of them, rather, that looked like Sony logos, but they weren't. But they were squares and triangles, but they weren't Sony logos, which was awesome. And then Sony sued them and won, and then there was no more of those original plates. They had to deliver the original plates that were ordered, but after that there was none. I was lucky to get a first gen plate. Second gen comes out. They don't want to get beat. And if you read their website, they're extremely fucking snarky to this day about it. Dark Plates version 2 comes out. There's holes for the fans. They're not replicating the original plates like the first one did. These are completely unique plates, which allows them to circumvent the law. So you have these fan holes to allow it to breathe better, which is actually a good thing. And the best part of these new version 2 plates is that inside, instead of having those stupid squares and triangles like they did before, which simulated what the PlayStation logo is, but yet differentiated it, and that was the argument. But the version 2s are a lot better. So in the front of them, they have ones and
This is
zeros.
brilliant.
Isn't it? So they have ones and zeros. And the ones and zeros, if you translate that binary, it's actually the cease and desist letter from Sony. The entire front and back plate, if you spread it out, is the cease and desist order in binary.
The only thing that would make that better is if they had this double middle finger, one on each inside plate, like
Yeah.
shadowing
Yeah.
effect
That would be great.
behind all the ones and zeros.
Yeah.
The double salute.
So there's multiple finishes and colors, and you can actually order RGB light strips now to go inside. They talk you through them. Again, I implore you, if you're into an iPhone screen case or screen cover or screen shield or PS5 plate, go to DBrand. They're actually a really, really good company out of Canada. The price, like, for these new version 2 plates is $59.05. Like, I love the way they just do shit. There's a reason why they do that. They just I don't know it. It's just it's good shit, and it's a good company. So I unfortunately have to go to the bathroom again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start, for what it's worth, and I'm going to let Fremo take off on the HoloLens story. Will I run to the bathroom?
Okay, I can do this. This takes me back to my family game time. All right, so I have no idea. It didn't sound like he hit the intro button for what it's worth. So anyway, we're gonna do for what it's worth segment now. The U.S. military has a contract with Microsoft to the tune of $22 billion for their HoloLens. Which, for those of you who don't know what a HoloLens is, it's well, you've probably heard of Google Glasses, where you've got stuff projecting in front of your eye. So think of that as more of a goggle setup for HoloLens. It's basically for augmented reality. You really, if you have played, I'll throw it out there, Call of Duty, Battlefield, anything like that, any first-person shooter where you have your HUD, your heads-up display, which has real-time information about what's going on, location of team members, various stuff like that. That's what the military is looking to do with these HoloLens. I believe the original contract was signed last year, and they're actually taking delivery currently on these HoloLens devices for the military for testing. So obviously, there's been some controversy in many ways about the military gaming intersection of life, with people stating that some of these games are being specifically designed and pushed to the youth to retrain them as soldiers, if you will. Might catch some more of that on Subtopia Null one day if we ever get that off the ground. But basically, Microsoft is like, yeah, we're all in on this, and that's what the HoloLens is going to be for the military. Let me give you the synopsis there so you don't have to.
Sure. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
HoloLens is basically giving you a FPS HUD in real time for military.
Right, but again, how many more contracts does Microsoft need?
Yeah, I've kind of talked about that too, about how Microsoft contracting with the military kind of feeds the conspiracy theories that gaming has been taken over by the government to pre-train young kids for
100%. 100%.
being drone soldiers.
Nutella said, we made a principled decision that we're not going to withhold technology from institutions that have elected in democracies to protect the freedom of they enjoy. What? The fuck are you talking about, Nutella? Like you gave, look, you have 3 government contracts already. Okay?
Yeah.
You won the iCloud, essentially the cloud contract for the Pentagon.
Yep.
That's money. Fremont and I will tell you all day long that's money. Then
they could literally afford to give away Xboxes and Windows 11 forever now.
All day. Yep. And then you inked a deal with not only the NFL and a bunch of other sports organizations, but the military for the Microsoft Surface tablets and computers.
And now HoloLens.
And now you did HoloLens. You have 3 contracts so fucking lucrative that you will never need to charge anybody for anything ever again. Fremo's not wrong.
With that being said, I want my Game Pass account to be free.
No, you don't. You know why? Because
I don't want anybody else's. I just want mine.
Nope. As soon as you and I ever close out our account, we're going to lose what we have. So Fremont and I have very unique accounts because we were there from the beginning. In fact, probably about 5 years later, 6 years later, Fremo and I noticed
You couldn't make a gamer tag like we've got now.
Right. So Fremo and I realized that at one point they were going from their Azure server to a Unix-based server or Linux-based server, one or the other. And they wanted to take out the slashes, the spaces, the non-numbered ones. And Fremo and I were like, no, I'm not going to update my account. I pay you. You're going to let it ride. I know you will. And sure enough, they did. So I still have a space in between my name, and Fremo has absolutely no numbers or anything generated after his. And they can piss off for that. But I guarantee you, if we cancel either one of those, we're fucked. We're never going to get those names back. We can even apply for them. Retrieve your name. Not going to work.
We actually, I'll tell you how they handle that. Our gamer tags are just masked at this point.
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
They are. There's something else behind it, and then that's actually running our account, and they just, like you can put an email mask up if your email's whatever, blah blah blah. You send it to someone, and you can have it just show up as your name instead of whatever at blah blah blah.com. It just shows up as Fremo. That's all they're doing with our gamer tags. But it still tickles me because someone had to write the code for that.
Yeah, 100%. Now, Nutella saying that kind of pisses me off, and I'm sure it pisses you off too. It's like you're just like you're not telling the full truth. I get it. If somebody came out and something came out, you would absolutely say it, but you're not coming forthright and telling everybody that you have 3 government contracts that can sustain your company for fucking decades. I think that's shitty.
Yeah.
It's just as shitty as one of those fucking stupid millennial smoothie machines. So my wife a couple of months back was into smoothies, and it was annoying as fuck. Like day, night, midday, I hear the blender going. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Oh, I'm making a smoothie. Okay, fucking great. And it was a big thing. And now they're selling this to millennials and Gen Zs.
Telling you, dude, you don't people do not see the dots and how they connect out there. You couple this whole portable smoothie thing with Meta, virtual reality, they're prepping a whole generation to be fed through a tube and being batteries for the Matrix.
I didn't even think about that. That is, I can get behind that. Because this smoothie, which
you can't hook me up in the Matrix because I gotta cut my steak and eat. Amen
to that. I need my seafood. Fremo will tell you, I am a fiend for seafood.
I gotta pop that can and drink that beer. You're not
taking that shit away. Tube. Right. So this is like Blendix or some shit like that. I don't even know what the fuck it is. I'm not going to endorse it.
Blendjet.
But the problem is, and this is what I immediately found with this, is you fucking millennials. You're gonna sit there and I need my juice and my vegetables. Well, if you're on the bus or the subway or the train,
nobody wants to hear your blender.
At 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, I don't want to hear your fucking blender going off with your strawberries and grapefruit and fucking blueberries. I don't want to hear that. I'm trying to catch another half an hour before I get to Boston or before I get to the main city or wherever I'm going. I don't want to hear your blender going off. Okay?
Yeah.
And not to mention, what are you going to do with the bottom half? You're going to just drink it with the bottom half? You're going to dump it into your backpack? Like, I don't give a shit what you're going to do, honestly. But you're still dumbasses. Which brings me to the final story of this week. And, man, has this burned my ass today. Because just like what I deal with and most likely Fremo deals with, in a little bit of more of extension, and my wife as a hiring executive does the same way, is that these millennials and Gen Xers just simply don't want to work. Okay?
No, they don't.
Or they want to do the bare minimum, and it's never enough money. Now, I've complained about money recently, and I got a raise. You know what? I fucking deserve it. And I'm not saying that you guys don't. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that my age,
fucking time
my
in,
responsibilities.
do the work.
Correct. I put the time in. I deserve that money. you just graduated college or you just came in there and you think it's a little too tough, I don't feel bad for you. It is hitting Google
Actually,
and
I'm not even mad. I'm not even mad at these kids. I'm mad at their parents.
yeah. No, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be mad at their college professors for telling them when you leave here, you should be making six figures. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
and then that comes back to the parents of
Why?
no, that dude sold you a bill of goods. Don't believe it.
Right, but they're not going to tell you that, dude. Come on, you have teenagers. They don't tell us shit.
Yeah, and they all moved out. You want to know why? Because I told them the way it was going to be. And guess what? I didn't know
It is
jack
that way.
until they moved out and they figured out, oh, maybe I did know what I was talking about. You are going to have to start at the bottom. No one's going to hire you in to run a department or division or to magically come down and just give you tons of money to develop the ideas that you have.
Not
You
gonna
got to
happen.
go out. You got to work for it. You got to earn it, period.
So in late July,
I'm not
Google
saying you can't just be a self-made man, an entrepreneur in today's
No, good for
society. It's
you.
way
Yeah.
easier than it has ever been in the history of mankind, but you
But it's still hard
have
work.
to put in the work.
Correct. 100%. Yep.
You see articles every week. You know, teenage, college student, whatever, is now a millionaire. You know, because they had this idea and blah blah blah.
No, Free. Hold up. No, because this is the fucking problem. Is that these Gen Xers, not necessarily millennials, but more Gen Xers in this case, are looking at it where these YouTube celebrities, Mr. Beast, Asmaroth, Pokimane.
Well, but here, go ahead, finish that. And
these people are making millions of dollars living in huge homes, and they're making so much money from just broadcasting the same thing that we're doing right now. They're making so much money that they're able to afford these larger homes and expand their business module. Now, those people, some of those people are smart enough to expand their horizons. You know, Amber Roth bought like 3 or 4 7-Elevens. Fucking good on you, taking that money and diversing it. That's awesome. But at the same time, you can't walk into a job at a Fortune 500 company and think that you're just going to sit around like at Google. You know, Google had that whole
and you can't you can't go out today and become a Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
Anymore.
No.
That golden age, that time frame to become a YouTube content creator that is going to make that kind of money is over because
100%.
everybody and their brother is out there trying to do it now.
100%.
So you got to find the next thing and get on that wave and ride it to the top. And it takes work. You ask any of these YouTube content creators who are now multimillionaires.
No. Fuck all that.
Ask them how many hours they spent producing content that nobody watched before they started making money. How many hours once they started making money did they put into making more content, better content? They didn't just sit down in front of a camera and whine about their lives and then they became famous.
No. Nope. You got Mr. Beast. You got Mr. Bada Bing. You have Amaroth. You have Pokimane. You have Harris Heller. You have Shroud. You have Dr. Disrespect. You have people that have put in time, energy, and money
Brett and Link.
into their career.
All these different guys.
Yeah. You have all that. Now,
Jenna Marbles. I mean, there's a ton of them out there.
Freemo and I have put in the time. We put in 20 years. But we're not asking for anything. We have never pulled that floodgate open to do anything because we have lives outside of this. We don't have the luxury of doing what they do, which is spending 6 to 8 hours every day online in front of this computer, in front of this setup to do what we need to do. We don't, nor do we want to. Would it be nice? Hell yeah, if I can get that money, that'd be wonderful. But I'm not going to risk my family or my career for that because that could be gone tomorrow. You know, Dr. Disrespect got canceled from 2 different places. Shroud's kind of retired. Pokimane decided that she's going to take time off. Amaroth has diversified her portfolio, for lack of a better term, to do other things, so she doesn't have to rely on Twitch and YouTube and whatever else. In fact, to that point, we've seen Twitch places I've seen Twitch people. There was one guy that said the N word during a broadcast. He got suspended for 3 months. But there's also a girl who had sex online. You couldn't see her, but she was definitely getting rumped. And she got suspended for fucking 7 days. And then when she came back from her suspension, she had 3 times the amount of viewers. You know, that's going to make her money, period. End of story. It's going to make her money. And it's shitty that people do this. And now you got the Google employees that are sitting around having their, sitting in their bean bags, pounding down crab cakes and shit. And now Google was very lax for a long time. And now they actually want some people to fucking work. And just like my work and just like your work. They don't want to do it. They're like, what do you mean? Oh, I mean, I want you to do A, B, and C before you go home tonight. That's a lot. Yeah. It is. It sucks because you haven't done shit for months. But I need this done before the end of this. Oh, you haven't done shit for weeks, but I need this done for the end of the month.
Yeah.
Oh, what the hell? I don't know what to tell you. If you did it when it first came here, we wouldn't have this problem. The vibe in Silicon Valley has totally changed because they're not reaping the rewards they used to.
Yeah.
Yeah, people aren't buying that shit anymore.
Yeah. And that's the bottom line. It doesn't matter where you want to go, how you want to get there. It's going to involve work, period.
Right.
It's going to require dedication. You got to put in the time. You got to put in the hours.
So as
sweat equity will never go away. It's a part of success. It always will be, period.
A coworker of mine named Taylor said it best to me. Complacency is taxable. So if you're complacent where you're at in life or where you're at work, that is taxable, meaning that you're not going to get a raise, you're not going to get a promotion, you're not going to get any of that shit. You're just going to be where you're at. So if you're happy where you're at, be happy where you're at. But if you're not happy where you're at, then strive for something better. That brings me to this week's God Bless My Mom, the For What It's Worth actual editorial for me, which is this is a no-win scenario, and I'll speak for Fremo in this case because him and I talk all the time. It's a no-win scenario. You corporate people don't fucking get it right now because it's the last of you boomers that are here, and you don't fucking get it. And the ones that are right below you that ran with you throughout your entire career are just as fucking clueless as millennials as you think, or even as Gen X. You're just as fucking clueless. The CEO of my company is absolutely clueless, has no idea. She's more inclined to do media events and marathons and let me worry about what your mental health is like. But the bottom line is the mental health is being abused. You have people in certain situations saying things like, they touched me. Well, how did they touch you? Did they grab your breast, your crotch? Did they grab your ass? What did they do? They put their hand on my shoulder. Okay, well, guess what? Some old people do that for fucking balance, asshat. They weren't being sexually, pushed towards you. They were doing that to keep themselves fucking upright. But now, good.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. There's a whole generation that's been raised that their perception of reality is the only thing that matters.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, a lot of the corporate regulations and even some laws at this point have bought into that.
Yep.
To where if I say that you microaggressed me, it doesn't matter whether you did or didn't. You did.
I just watched a
because
video
I said you
on
did.
that. I had to watch a fucking video on microaggressions. I was never so upset with the corporation that I work for in that moment.
I know. But this whole thing is going to end up crushing an entire generation because everybody is so weak that everything is a microaggression. And literally this generation is going to just seize up and quit functioning because You can't talk to anyone. You can't look at anyone. You can't do anything out of fear that you might microaggress them. And it's all subjective on that person's end. Like you could literally be looking across a room, and if you pause as you're looking across the room at someone for longer than they like,
and breathe heavy,
you have now
heavy.
microaggressed them.
Yeah.
And you literally could just have been like, where was the exit again? And you stopped too long on one person, and now you're in trouble because they felt attacked.
So the way we can explain this to you the best way,
that anxiety level is crushing this generation, and you can see it in the news every day.
Every day. And what to elaborate on what Fremo's explaining is essentially like if for some reason I'm working with Fremo and I say, Fremo, dude, your hair's getting a little long. And you go, that's what I like. And I go, that's a microaggression. So that
if I choose to interpret it that way, then he has now offended me. He has now attacked me.
100%.
He has now blah blah blah. Get some.
I can lose my
thick
fucking
skin,
job.
people.
I can lose my job. My 5 kids and my wife and my house are going to be jeopardized because I breathed heavy. And I think it's bullshit, okay? So millennials,
but here's the
millennials
thing.
and Gen Xers. Good.
We're going to be in charge of the hiring process. Who are we going to pick? Who are we not going to pick? And there are so many constraints on that now about how you have to go through that.
Well, that's the problem.
But the long and short of it is Gen Z ain't going to get hired.
That's the problem I was just going to bring up.
You better go figure out how to make some money.
That was the problem I just was going to bring up. I'm dealing with that right now. So I'm short-staffed. And when we go hire people, they either come in extremely arrogant or coming in where they don't care at their interview. One or the other. It's never in the middle. It's always one or the other. I can't even say that because there's a few diamonds in the rough where they come in, they interview proper, they answer the questions proper. The other people are so consumed with, well, I'm this and I'm that, and I identify as this and I identify as that, and I don't feel I should do this, and how much does this pay? Okay, so after I offer you the job is when you should say, well, how much does this pay? Because that's the time to do that. We're expecting that as hirees. Is that the right word? Or as employers, I'm expecting you.
Hirer.
Okay. So I'm expecting, Fremo, I've just offered you this job as a salesperson on the floor, and we want to offer you $15 an hour. And that's Fremo's opportunity to turn around and go, well, you know what? I have a lot of experience. I have like 3 years experience in sales. So I think I'm already going to do a good job. I like to make 16. I'm not going to leave my 15 job to not make more money. Okay, let me get back to you, Fremo. And I'll go to my superiors and go, hey, look, this person's got 3 years experience in sales. Let's throw them another $1 or 50 cents. Or maybe I go back to Fremo and go, hey, Free, I can offer you $15.50. But you can progress in 6 months. That's different. These millennials and Gen Xers don't even want to fucking hear that.
No, they want 20, 25, 30 coming in the door.
There's a certain position that is making almost the same amount of money as me that you don't do shit. And your whole thing is that when you do that particular job, you make that money. When you work for me, you make less money. How the fuck are you going to justify that? Like, that doesn't make sense, people. Yeah. Like, corporate's not thinking this out. Like, if that was me and they were like, hey, look, we need some help.
Here's the thing. The company I've been with, I've been there a little over 20 years. I've gotten my annual cost of living increase along with other raises here and there, right?
Yeah.
Could someone straight out of school come in and do the same job I'm doing? For the most part.
Yeah.
You know, some of the stuff I do, yeah, absolutely they could. But for them to come in and expect to make what I make, is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because there is 20 years of experience, there's 20 years of knowledge.
And not just general knowledge. Fremo's talking about knowledge within the company, So company
Yeah.
specific knowledge. My company's the same way. There's certain protocols and software that I use, like Freemo, that are independent of those companies. That garners experience because you got to teach that to somebody that's coming in.
But and that's unfortunately the mindset. It's very much an entitlement mindset of, well, this person who's in the same position as me is making X number of dollars, so I should get that right off the bat. No, you shouldn't. You haven't proved yourself.
No,
Period.
fuck no. I'm sorry. I know you want to. I know you want to come in and your professor told you that at school, but that's not reality, okay? And especially with Gen Xers taking the reins from the boomers. Look, let me tell you something. That shit's not going to happen. Like, I'm already getting
No.
tired of it at my job where I'm about
No,
to fire
'cause
like
we've done the grind for 30 something years.
right.
And
We said
there's
nothing.
no way in hell you're going to come. I'm going to hire you in and pay you what someone with 5, 10, 15, 20 years of experience has. Period. It ain't happening.
Not going to happen.
Get
Not
over
gonna
it.
happen. Yeah. And with my crew, it's like you don't realize that I'm saving you. Like when I get fed up, you're all getting written up because you're all doing things wrong and you're not listening to what you're doing because of your feelings. I don't give a fuck about your feelings. Facts are facts. You didn't do
Yeah.
A, B, and C. I'm going to write you up for that. After the
Unless,
third one, you're
unless your
gone.
feelings can actually go do the job for you,
Yeah.
they don't come into play.
Yeah. And my boss turned around to me at one point and was like, "Do you want to work by yourself?" Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm kind of good with that. I'm kind of good with that. I'll massage the schedule how I need to, and I'll get shit done, and I know it's done right. Right now, you want me to assign tasks to people, and this is what happens, people in corporate, that we're told as Gen Xers and higher ups to assign tasks and delegate to the Gen Zs and the Millennials. The problem there is that they're so fucking unbelievably lazy. And here's the best part. Is that because of their attitude in this generation, they will tell you, yeah, I'm naturally lazy. Like, why the
That
fuck are
and
you
the other
telling me
thing,
that?
the other thing I've run into, which compounds it even more, is they have no problem solving, no critical thinking, no logical
Oh my
skills.
God. You are so right. Absolutely zero.
I can look
Zero.
at you. I can look at you and say, "Hey, I need you to take this project. You got a week."
Yep.
And you'll go and you'll get started on it. And
I'll
if you have
figure it out.
questions, you'll come
Yeah.
back to me. If
Yep.
you need clarification, you
Sure.
hand that to someone else, especially fucking Gen Z. You hand it to them, and they just are like,
So to explain it slightly
how do
better.
I start? How do I start? What do I do?
So explain this slightly better. Freebo gives me a task of making sure that we can get 15 packages down the line instead of 10. And I go, okay. And I take that and I count this and I maybe take a week and I go, hey, Freebo, what's my parameters? Can I add people? Can I subtract people? Can I slow down the actual conveyor belt? And he'll give me the parameters. And I'll go back to what my task is, and I'll be like, all right. And I'll go back to Freemo in a week, 2 weeks, whatever parameter he gave me. And I'll go, I can do it or I cannot do it. If I can do it, this is how I did it. If I cannot do it, this is the reason why. And here's how to fix it. Here's how to fucking fix it.
Yeah. Here's my
Freemo make
my
that decision.
top 3 recommendations on where to go.
And Free will make that decision, and then he'll deal it to me, and I'll do it. You know,
Yeah.
Free and I've talked about this before of when if I ever worked for him. Okay, what do you need me to do? I need you to reset this network and make sure that everybody's valid on it. Okay. If I don't know how to do, how do I dial into this? Even something as basic. Hey, Free, what's the password for this this server? How do I get into the server? Oh, pull out the blade. Log in with this username and this password, you'll have full access. Okay, thank you. Hey, Free, I'm going to shut it down from 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. so I can reset a couple of things and upgrade it. All right. Thanks for letting me know.
Sounds good.
It's that simple. But these Gen Xers and these millennials have no fucking clue on how to do this. And this is killing us. Okay? So if you're a Gen Xer or a millennial, or you're directly affected with those people, and you're listening to the show, Freemo and I are begging you, please Smarten the fuck up. Fire them if need be, because they want more money and they're not going to get it. So if you find a job
Yeah,
that pays you,
if they're in an app for it, they can't do it.
if you find a job that pays you more, go fucking do it. Leave me alone. Go fucking do it. I don't care. I want somebody that can follow directions. And when you're here and you follow directions, I got one guy on my crew that legitimately follows every fucking direction that I can ask him to do. And you know what? I'm going to keep him with me. If I go to another location, I'm going to be like, can I take him?
I'm gonna sum this whole rant up for him. If you don't want me to microaggress you, then don't force me to micromanage you.
Ooh.
Well
done. Well done. And on that note, we will end the show. Do you have anything else?
Nope.
All right, that's it for this week. Tense down, show's over. So you can find more of this garbage at bgfgonline.com. You can also send us an email with your questions or suggestions at bgfgshow@gmail.com. Find our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Overcast, Podcast, Castro, Castbox, Podchaser, and YouTube. Thank you for listening.